Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome back. Swire, podcast producer here. From small startups to big household names, we cover it all on the Insect podcast. This week, Robin Merttens speaks to Ben Turner and Tom Swire from Salesforce on the company's offering in the insurance sector. Covering all from driving innovation, examples from current companies using Salesforce, and exciting announcements for the year ahead. This is not our first conversation with Salesforce recently. If you missed our evening event held in collaboration with Salesforce and Azure Technology last Thursday, videos will be released on the website soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. For more information on who we are and what we do at Instech, take a look at instech.co to find out what others are doing and what to share with the world. That's pretty much it. Now let's see what Robin, Tom and Ben had to say.
Welcome to this week's Instech podcast. Sometimes our podcasts are with very small companies and with a founder and a few employees doing something exciting in insurance. Sometimes we meet really big companies, so they don't come much bigger than Salesforce. And I've got with me Tom Swire, who's the Enterprise Account Director, Salesforce, and Ben Turner, who's the Area VP for Insurance. Tom and Ben, welcome.
Great to be here, Robin. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Robin.
First of all, we have to establish what your roles are because they're all very complicated. So I'm going to start with you, Ben. What is it you do at Salesforce?
Yeah, so I lead our insurance business in the UK. So what that means in practical terms is I lead our sales team. I create and execute our go-to-market across the insurance market. Financial services is a huge business unit within our overall UK business. So yeah, I have the pleasure of leading the go-to-market, the sales and execution of that team.
How did you gain your expertise in insurance? Assuming you're an expert, of course. Are you an insurance man through and through?
I think like most people, I sort of fell into the market sort of out of university. I'm showing my age here, Robin, 20 odd years ago. And I was fresh-faced out of university and joined a company called Polaris UK Limited, which is the general insurance standards body. So my first interaction with the insurance world was trying to get underwriters to agree on a question set. I was then involved in things like iMarket, which was the commercial lines e-trading platform, and Polaris Product Writer. It was a great induction to the insurance market, and hook or crook, I've stayed with it.
Not difficult to see why a job at Salesforce was attractive after doing market standards. Tom, how about you? I know enough about you to know you were an insurance man.
Very similar to Ben, I fell into the insurance industry. Coming out of university, applied for like a number of jobs. I was lucky to be offered a job by Allianz at the time on their underwriting graduate scheme. It was a great learning curve, great 2-year program, learning all facets of how an insurance company runs, and still gives me value to this day. And then spending about 5 years at Allianz, I decided to move across to QBE. So basically into more of a specialist underwriting job, underwriting large complex risk. In time, I was made the regional property and package manager across the Northwest. And then, last year, approached by Ben to join and work for Salesforce, being able to bring up underwriting and sort of wider insurance insight into the team, really try and positively shape some of this transformation that's going on in the wider market.
Ben, back to you. I'm going to ask you the question that everybody listening to this wants me to ask, which is, isn't Salesforce a CRM system? And what is it that you have to offer the insurance world that goes beyond just CRM, which is what everybody knows you for?
Robin, I'd be a rich man for every pound to have somebody ask that question. It's a challenge, but I think one that we're addressing at the moment, and we have ultimately raised the awareness of what we do. And we're very proud of our heritage, which has been customer relationship management, account management, opportunity management, lead management, marketing as part of that. And that's where we were born out of. We've grown from that in terms of you sell, you then got to be able to service, you've got to be able to market to clients. Now we are a very different proposition. What's exciting for us is that we have full front to middle to back office capabilities. Most of the time people go, oh, I didn't realize you had a policy administration platform, you had a claims management platform, you did quoting and rating. And Tom talks about innovation. We're doing a lot around innovative products in the market across health, life, GI, London market. It's a journey. And I think we have a strapline at Salesforce, which is trust, data, AI, and then I always add something to it, which is industries, because actually you've got to be applicable. This industry more than anything, you've got to know the business process. You've got to be able to talk the lingo, understand the methodology. It's a really exciting time to be at Salesforce, and there's a whole ancillary list of solutions and things that we're doing around Slack, or it's our net zero cloud, which likes of Howden are using to manage their sustainability requirements, their carbon emission requirements. And we can go through the list. And I think the challenge that we've brutally is raising the awareness of the platform.
Well, that's where Instech comes in. There'll be a crowd at your door the moment someone listens to the podcast. Tom, this is starting to make sense because I know a product where there's massive demand, where Salesforce is very active, and that's Underwriter Workbench. Is part of your role at Salesforce taking your old world where you understand and manage underwriters and the knowledge of the processes and their data requirements, and you're looking then at what Salesforce has in terms of capabilities and technologies and building out that Underwriter Workbench?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's good to put this into some context as well. When I first started within insurance, Robin, back in 2012, where people were adamant that they wanted to use paper files. Now we're talking about ingestion, we're talking around augmented underwriting, we're talking about workbenches. I think first and foremost, I think it just shows the level of pace and change within the insurance industry and how serious all our customers are really taking it at the minute. And yeah, talking about my sort of old roles and how it can link workbench, some of the constant frustration with every team I ever worked with or had as an underwriting team was just sheer number of systems still being used, particularly long-standing legacy systems still used to this day. There could be a lot of use of offshore teams. As an underwriting manager and you basically want the team to be doing more value-add services. Insurance is relationship-driven. You want the underwriters to be in front of broken faces. You want them to be having more meetings. You want them to be driving pipeline, attending events, having more engagement. You want them to be quoting business. You want to be driving pace through the organisation. Part of the reason for me coming across to Salesforce is basically instantly recognizing there's such a big opportunity where some of the stuff that we can do can really help drive the efficiency of the teams. And this is what this sort of workbench is. It's an ideal single customer view state where somebody sends in a piece of business, a submission, and there's that single view concept where a lot of the pre-work's done automatically for the underwriter. You can ultimately send one singular workflow from the start of the submission process all the way into the back end, having to toggle between up to 15, 16 different systems like I've used in the past at different insurance companies. So it's really just recognising that data is the absolute key.
For the whole of 2024, that has been an immense focus for most of the insurers we're speaking to, this ability to pull together in one place your ingestion, your triage, your data augmentation, your workflow, just to give underwriters a fundamentally more efficient way of working. Ben, presumably the underwriting workbench is on the zeitgeist and there's plenty of demand. How is it selling? Any customers, any implementations you can tell us about?
Yeah, and maybe I'll just add a little bit of context to what Tom said. Where Salesforce has come from this is you've got to have all the data in the one place. And I think one of the things we've seen in the market, people will have a submission tool. That's one part of the jigsaw. Or they'll have a quote to bind tool. Yeah, that's great. But then you haven't got submissions. But then you're missing client. If you want to grow your book, if you want to actually reduce your expense ratio, you've got to have that client data and you've got to combine that with risk data. You've got to combine that with claims data and to be able to pull that and unify that together. And that's really where Salesforce is, because we've got all this rich sort of enterprise client data, and then we've borne out into the underwriting workbench, and effectively it's case management and a workflow. Coming back to your question around where we've seen deployments, and there's an organization called Rethink, which is a new lead follower automated underwriting platform. And they've gone live within 7 months. They've seen productivity improvements. They've seen the cost per policy. We've got other examples like N2G. For those InsurTech listeners, go and have a look at N2G. It's a joint venture between Generali and Nationwide Insurance, and they provide commercial lines insurance. And they had 7 different systems that were sort of part of that underwriting process to get from submission to quote. And they've streamlined that. So they've consolidated and simplified on 2 systems now. And they've seen 25% improvement in underwriting documentation because of being able to streamline that process. And they've seen an uptake in terms of compliance and efficiency. And Charlie and Graham Elliott from Crux and the Azure business, you had them on the podcast recently, Robin. The whole essence of that business, which they so eloquently talked about on your podcast a few weeks back, is it was about driving underwriting efficiency and giving the underwriters more time with the workbench and then to provide quote. We've got some great customer success stories. We've got some big organizations who are at the bleeding edge rolling it out at the moment. So I'm hoping come the end of the year, we'll be able to talk around those in more detail.
So moving on from underwriting workbenches to AI, can't have a podcast without talking about AI, and Salesforce will be investing heavily in it, no doubt. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing there.
As you say, there isn't a conversation goes. It is a real keen topic, and we had our Dreamforce event in San Francisco 2 weeks ago, which I'm still recovering from, to be honest with you, with the jet lag. But we had 40,000 people out there, C-level executives from the UK, and they all want to understand what AI means for their business. Generally, there's a lot of confusion around what AI is. Obviously, we operate in a very highly regulated environment, and change is difficult. We've made a commitment to invest 4 billion over the next 4 or 5 years in the UK, and specifically around AI. We have set up and we've had our first insurance customers through the doors of our new AI innovation hub down in Waterloo. What we want to do is train people up in AI, because I don't know, Robin, if you've ever tried to create an AI bot. We'll send you over the details and you can do one on Salesforce. But actually, you've got to learn how to create prompts. You've got to speak to the AI in the right way to get the right response. So there's a lot of education and a lot of training that needs to go on. And we want to help create knowledge. We need to get kids of today. We need to get the insurance industry trained. We need to get them understanding what these large language models do. We need to get them understanding how you put guardrails in place. We need to make sure that they know where the human interface comes in, and make sure that the two worlds sit together.
For me, it's really thinking particularly around the sort of end use case examples of AI. I think it's so important for us to sometimes take it down a few levels in terms of how we can actually help the teams on the ground. Sometimes people struggle to think how AI can actually really transform process or like really help empower the actual teams. Just thinking of a few examples, you could have something where AI can actually help create underwriting rationales. The underwriting teams is incredible, but it actually creates a standardized process template. So you can get people in the compliance teams or audit teams within these insurance companies. And when they're going in and reading underwriting rationales as part of their audit process, everything just becomes much as well. So that's one really quick win. I think another one is there can be numerous places where you can store documents for specific client files. Thinking around how can we actually get the best of this data. You can have an underwriting assistant or basically a bit of AI to actually find where this information is sat. And what it also can do is send off workflows through a single contact as well. So again, it's talking about thinking of tasks which are not particularly value add for underwriters, using automation, letting the AI do the hard work for the underwriter. Again, I've been really focused on the underwriter here. I'm just conscious AI can affect the whole insurance company here, not specifically just for underwriters. So if we're thinking about the claims teams or claims contact centers, when they're speaking to customers, you can use voice activation. You can get AI to be helping write meeting notes. You can help AI actually find specific bits of information about a policy for a customer. So it's getting a much better experience for customers, getting better experience for the person working in the contact center. So you're getting quicker resolution times. You can have prioritization lists, which basically mean you can specifically target risks and accounts that you want the underwriting teams to be looking at. You can also do that with meetings, with the sales and distribution functions. So the brokers that are most rewarded in terms of giving you pipeline or new business or having the most success in terms of the lowest attrition rates. So just a few cases in terms of actual end user front. And it's definitely always good to highlight those.
Again, one of the features of the last year has been the specialty market's acceptance that there is a role for automation, or more actually semi-automation. So one's not automating the whole task, but one is identifying subtasks, as you say, with little added value which can be automated, and weaving those together with the points at which the underwriter does add value is the secret right now. So what lies ahead? That's what you do now. Encourage the industry to play around in the AI toolkit. Anything on the horizon? Any new products? Anything that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, so I think the great thing about Salesforce is there's constant change. And it's part of the strategy that we've put into place. We had our first insurance, sounds very grand, symposium at the beginning of the year. We know this market is a community and we know the way it works and people talk. And for vendors, there's a small delineation between a lot of us, yeah, in terms of the way we go about things. So what we're trying to do is very much embed ourselves in the community and be part of that. And we want insurtechs, we want insurers, brokers, wholesale brokers, reinsurers, you name it, to be part of that. And we've done that on a subsector basis as well, because we appreciate there's definitely different nuances between general insurance, London market, health, and life. So that for me is critical. I want to keep on bringing people like Tom into the business. We want domain expertise. You've got to understand the pain, you've got to understand the problem, and you've got to be able to relate that to the solution as opposed to here's a solution and try and work out what it does. And then so there's sort of people, community, and then the last point is a platform. We've talked around some of the AI use cases, things like policy summarization, claim summarization. They will all be part of our platform moving forwards. And then on the core platform, which is our quoting and claims and policy administration, there's huge investment going into that in the UK and including the London market as well. And then the big reveal is we are launching our own agency management system come spring 2025. This will have account management features as you'd expect on Salesforce. It will have tools to managing your brokers. It will have, importantly, which we haven't had before, things like managing revenue, commission splits, and so forth. So that's really exciting. Our clients will be able to access that capability come spring 2025. So a lot going on, a lot to digest.
Tom, Salesforce can do a lot, but it can't do everything. And it brings us back to the dreadful ecosystem word. Where are the areas in which you have partners? Where do you draw the line between the stuff that Salesforce will build and take responsibility for, and then the sort of specialist features that you might want to hand off to partners?
Good question. I think it's probably important, firstly, to recognise that Salesforce can't always fit or meet every single demand from a client. So I think for me, it's making sure if Salesforce is going to get partner involved, it's at an early stage, it's thinking about expertise, it's thinking about the needs and demands of the client and making sure it's all collectively aligned together. Obviously, I've been to prior insurtech events, and obviously one of the partners that has been on the front is a company called Swire. So Cytora is an absolute classic example of like a partner that Salesforce can work with around some of the workbench needs in terms of around ingestion. But yes, Cytora is a good example in terms of for us making sure that we get the right experience and the right knowledge for a particular task. And in that case, how it aligns with the workbench, I imagine it's not just Cytora in the equation, but there's a lot of other partners involved as well.
Any noticeable gaps in the partnership community? Something where you know you've got an issue and you're looking for someone to fill a hole?
I wouldn't say gaps. I would always say Salesforce is always looking for new partners to really help the Salesforce ecosystem and accelerate that client journey for us. I'd probably give a bit of a shout out to our App Exchange. It's an incredible system that Salesforce launched a few years ago. It's basically an open forum where existing and new partners can basically launch their services on a single platform. And a lot of our customers and clients use that on a daily basis in terms of getting additional things from Salesforce. Wouldn't say gaps. I would say we're always open looking for opportunities.
The whole ethos of Salesforce is we've got this underlying platform and any insurtech build on this platform. And there are ISVs and insurtechs that are part of your community, Robin, who have done that. If you've got a few skilled Salesforce developers who can build a delegated authority platform or a new broker system, you can go off and do that. And we've got partners who are building accelerators. We call them accelerators over the top of our platform. And I think it's a really key point for if we're going to scale, we can't be all things to all people. We've got to pick our battles and investment and so forth. That's where we need insurtech, where we need partners to go, do you know what? I see a gap in the market. Salesforce aren't playing in that area. Have a conversation with Salesforce and how can we support and go to market together. And that's a great opportunity for any entrepreneur, any business or anybody out there. So there's lots of opportunities because we just can't be everything.
We're just about out of time. Tom, do you want to give us one final thought to leave the audience with? And I will excuse you if you want to make one outrageous sales pitch on behalf of the not CRM system that is Salesforce.
I wouldn't probably call it a sales pitch, but I think a lot of the conversations I've had during joining Salesforce is that I tend to get a response back that transformation is sometimes a bit of a big scary word, and people can be a bit reluctant to talk transformation or a little bit resistant to change for like status quo. I feel like for me, how it's all going to work sort of best for like, any sort of client or all that sort of stuff is really having and sort of delving into those initial conversations and just really thinking about those quicker and easy user case wins and really understanding what you want as a business. And I think the quicker and sooner you get the likes of Salesforce as part of those conversations, I think it'll just work better onto that or anything else.
No, look, if we're doing the shameless sales pitch, then I'd slightly tweak it just back to the AI conversation and our Agent Force launch, which every business leader is thinking about how they integrate these agents and autonomous agents. Where we see Agent Force playing a role is that trust, the scalability, and the continuous innovation that agent provides. I managed to create an Agent Force bot in 20 minutes, and I'm not technical at all. You don't DIY AI, and we've got some out-of-the-box components that can really accelerate speed and time to value, all done in a secure and trusted way, grounded in your enterprise data. A lot of these LLMs use public data, and what we're trying to do is ground it in your enterprise data. Really do go and have a look at Agent Force, because the insurance community, the insurtech community can be building these bots. There's a whole plethora of use cases, as Tom has highlighted, that we can start to work on together.
Thank you both. I'm sure that anyone who is still with us now knows for sure that you're just not a CRM system. Anyone interested, they'll be able to pick up the details of how to contact you too from our notes. Thank you both for joining. Thank you to Salesforce for supporting Instack, and good luck with the launch next year. I look forward to hearing all about it.
Thanks, Robin.
Cheers, Robin. Appreciate it.
Well, if you've made it to the end, then I'm pretty sure you found this as interesting as I have. Please do tell us what you think about this podcast or any other podcast you're listening to. We recommend leaving a comment or a rating on whatever platform you are listening on, as this will ensure more people are able to listen to us and boost our algorithm. That's it, we are done.